Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the Closing Bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
To the S&P 500, back there I go. And Scarlett, you've got 348 names to the upside on this Monday, 154 losing some ground and 2 unchanged.
All right, let's take a look at the IMAP. And what it shows is that there are only 2 sectors that finished in the red. Consumer discretionary, led by the auto companies, down about 0.8%. Energy also down 0.6%. Meantime, you have technology, financials, and real estate investment trusts leading the advance.
All right, to the individual gainers. So HPE, guys, number one gainer in the S&P 500, a gain of 11% in today's session. The Justice Department settling its lawsuit challenging HPE's $13 billion takeover of Juniper Networks. So what they are going to require is that the combined company sells HPE's instant-on wireless networking business and auction off a license to Juniper's competing Mist business. Still has to be approved by a court, would negate the need for a trial that was set to start July 9th in San Jose, California. And the deal would have consolidated the sector from 3 major players to 2, controlling 70% of the market. But the settlement basically preserves competition in the global networking market. But nonetheless, investors cheering HPE. I should point out Juniper also doing well, up about 8.5%. Now I'm going to flip on over to Oracle. It was up as much as 8.5% in today's session, finishing the day with a gain of about 4%, rallying on news that it has signed a single cloud deal worth $30 billion in annual revenue, and it's expected to start flowing in fiscal year 2028. It did not name the customer, but the deal among the largest cloud contracts on record, and would represent nearly 3 times the size of its current infrastructure.
You know what I love about this? It said $30 billion annually, right?
Yeah.
So narrow it down. I mean, how many customers are out there that have $30 billion?
Gotta be one of the big dudes, right?
So, yeah. It's a list of about 5.
Sounds like, want to give a hint?
No, not on air.
Okay.
It's just gigantic.
It's gigantic.
Consider that Google was paying $20 billion a year to Apple, and that was already a mind-blowing figure to put Chrome front and center. So this, is 50% more than that, obviously. It's just huge.
Our Brody Ford said, unprecedented scale, unprecedented win for Oracle, but they're also going to have to spend big, right, to meet this, and build it out. So just keep that in mind.
Also, $30 billion
earnings
at the deal that they're offering. I don't know if you listen to Bloomberg Radio very often, but
never listen.
If you sign up for Oracle's web services now, switching from another provider, they'll give you 50% off. So it would be $60 billion a year.
I'm not sure.
They got a sweetener.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go to something a little bit different, a little bit nutty. Ticker is BMNR, BitMine Immersion. And this one's soaring. It's a microcap Bitcoin miner announcing a $250 million private placement to fund an Ether treasury and named Thomas Lee, the founder of Fundstrat, as chairman of its board. So following in the likes of a model that we've seen by, we talked about this with Joe Weisenthal, a model created by Michael Saylor over at...
Love Tom Lee.
Yeah, exactly. Stock up 694% here in today's session.
Do you not love Tom Lee, Scarlett? I mean, he is a CNBC contributor, so we can't have
I'm just marveling at the share price jump from $4 and change to $34.
It's crazy, right?
Pretty remarkable.
It's kind of crazy. And I should point out, honorable mention, Apple up about 2% as it's considering maybe outside AI to help Siri.
People are happy that it's not going to spend more money on AI.
I know.
Trying to build its own AI.
Just buy it, right?
Here are the losers. Amazon.com. I'm not sure if this is why it's down, but I'm sure you've all seen the reporting that you can't get Nintendo's Switch 2 on Amazon.com, the U.S. site, because of a fight they had previously about selling unauthorized Nintendo games. Apparently, people were buying packs of Nintendo's games in Asia at a discount and then bringing them here to sell for cheap on the U.S. site. Now you can't find a Switch 2, which is like the biggest console launch of all time. They sold 3.5 million Switch 2s in the first 4 days, and they're looking to sell 15 million total. Tesla, you saw down as well. It had been up briefly in this morning's trade when I was anchoring Bloomberg Open Interest, which is weekdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Bloomberg TV. So Elon Musk was out on Saturday slamming the one big, beautiful bill because it cuts the EV subsidies sooner than expected, or sooner than previously was planned. In September, you won't be able to get the $7,500 back if you buy a Tesla or some other EV. And then some smaller stocks. Chemed down after the hospice service provider saw weaker than expected Florida Medicare results in April and May. It's a much smaller, now even smaller, I think a $7.5 billion stock, CHE, the ticker. Fortive, FTV is about twice as big. That company down after management said second quarter revenue will be hurt by increased pricing pressure and lower demand. The company also completed separation of Precision Technologies segment as Ralliant Corp, which trades under a separate ticker, RAL. So a couple of little movers there, but I thought the big ones were more interesting, actually.
All right, I'll add another mover to the pile here in after-hours trade. Shares of Boeing fractionally lower. This after announcing that they are going to implement a new CFO. Brian West, who's been in the job for a little less than 4 years, going to be stepping aside. And Jay Malavy, who had been the CFO over at Lockheed Martin up until about April, will be taking on that role. Of course, Kelly Ortberg, relatively new CEO at Boeing, has been trying to reshape things and get this company and, more importantly, the stock back on track. But again, the headline, a new CFO at Boeing. All right, let's check in on yields for just 1 second here. We did see them move down, as that, of course, has been the trend line for the past few weeks, a continued steepening of the yield curve, only down about 3 basis points on the shorter end of the curve, a little bit more of a move that we saw on the longer end of the curve, dropping about 5 basis points for your 30-year yield.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.